here tonight. What do you have to say to these people?
My name is Ron Kovic. I'm a Vietnam veteran. My name is Ron Kovic. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm here tonight to say that this war is wrong, that this society lied to me, it lied to my brothers, it deceived the people in this country, tricked them into going 13,000 miles to fight a war against the poor peasant people who have a proud history of resistance, who have been struggling for their own independence for 1,000 years, the Vietnamese people. I can't find the words to express how the leadership of this government sickens me. Now, people say if you don't love America, then get the hell out. Well, I love America.
Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a look back and reflect on one of the most powerful war movies ever, in Born on the 4th of July. Released on December the 20th, 1989, it stars Tom Cruise, Cara Sedgwick, Jerry Levine and William Dafoe, and it was directed by acclaimed director Oliver Stone. Now, Born on the 4th of July is a biographical account of real-life war veteran Ron Kovic, who enlisted into the Vietnam War in 1965, and after serving 2 tours, his squad was ambushed approaching a village and he was shot both in the right foot and in the shoulder, and as a result was left paralysed from the chest down. Now, after his ordeal, Kovic went on to be involved in activist groups and protests, speaking out against the Vietnam War effort. This included giving a speech at the 1976 Democratic National Convention in Madison Square Garden in New York, and he published his autobiography titled Born on the 4th of July, telling his life story. And Oliver Stone's movie very much follows Kovic's journey from his early family life, very much influenced by the media war campaign and enlisting into the war, the horrific conflicts that he sees, and the suffering from his injuries, both on a physical and psychological level. We then see his struggles to integrate back into the post-Vietnam American society, becoming disillusioned at the anti-war attitudes that the country has fallen into, being vilified by the protests and facing the reality of what the war really meant and how much it cost his life. We see him descend into drunken rages, lashing out at his family, before crossing over to Mexico, sleeping with prostitutes in brothels, before regaining direction and becoming an anti-war activist. Now, to simply put it, Born on the 4th of July is one of the most vivid, powerful and harrowing Vietnam War movies ever. During the 80s, of course, we had a string of extremely intense and imposing films around the subject, dealing with the whole experience before, during and after. Now, Oliver Stone had already produced, for me, the greatest Vietnam War movie ever with Platoon in 1986, and Born on the 4th of July stands proudly alongside it as a companion piece. Despite the life journey of Kovic that the film shows, this is very much a movie about the post-trauma from the war. The film itself is at many times very disturbing, emotional and heartbreaking, and very difficult to watch. There simply is no holding back, no sugarcoating or sentimentality in showing all of Kovic's experiences at their most raw and horrific. Now, some may feel that the film starts off very slow, as it focuses on Kovic's young teenage life, where we see him hanging out with his friends, training for sports and going to the high school prom. Now, this might be a valid argument, but very much like The Deer Hunter, this is very much the calm before the storm, showing how pleasant Kovic's life was and hinting at what could have been if he hadn't joined the war effort. And here Oliver Stone portrays the traditional family-orientated America, all shining lights and fanfare and bright colours, again showing how better the world was before the war came to pass. And of course, when the harsh reality hits, it's quite the tonal shift, and again it's very stark when you are watching this film, particularly for the first time. We have certain scenes where Kovic's squad realising they've killed innocent women and children in the village, and we get very graphic displays of seeing the dismembered bodies. We then see the dingy and dirty hospital ward that Kovic was under, surrounded by all of the other wounded soldiers, with rats all over the place amidst all of the dirty equipment. Again, just very hard to believe that people had to experience this type of trauma, and we see the anguish that Kovic goes through as he is told that he will never walk again despite his best efforts. Now, admittedly, the film does lose some of its compelling power as it focuses later on Kovic's binges when we see him in nightclubs and bars, and honestly the detour into Mexico where we see him hiding amongst the brothels could have been taken out. It wasn't really necessary in terms of the overall story. and at times the film is a bit overlong and protracted because of narratives such as this, and it does tend to slow down a bit in terms of the compelling pace that is set within the first hour. And I do believe that Oliver Stone made a slight mistake in not focusing how Kovic came back from his lowest point within Mexico, very much skipping over the period from 1971 to 1976, where he started to write his book and became far more of a peaceful activist. Yes, we do get scenes of the riots and the protests where we see him coming under attack, but we don't get the more positive aspect, in my opinion, of seeing how very much he rebuilt himself and regained a more positive direction. Now, I guess from a movie perspective, it was deemed far more compelling to keep the focus on the post-war anguish within American society. And this is very much typified in a climatic scene where we see Kovic involved in a protest rally which breaks out into a riot, and this is very much a juxtaposition of his ambush in Vietnam that we see in the first stages of the film as he leads his group amidst all of the riots, and we see many people getting beaten down and shot at in terms of the tear gas, again very much similar to what his ambush was in Vietnam. And the message that Oliver Stone presents here is all very clear. Despite the fact that Kovic left Vietnam, he still finds himself embroiled in another war. Now, of course, the heart of this movie is Tom Cruise, and after the recent success of Top Gun Maverick, he is being hyped as the last truly remaining A-list movie star. And this movie is really a reminder of how long he's been in the industry, and prior to the release of this film, he had already been established as the movie star archetype with films such as Risky Business, Top Gun, Rain Man and Cocktail, but he truly defied the odds and expectations with this role here. And for all of the bigger movies that he's made since, make no mistake, this role here as Ron Kovic is Cruise's greatest ever screen performance, conveying all of the raw emotions to completely convince you of the personality. It was a role I didn't think he was capable of when seeing this film for the first time, and he's simply everything, proving that before the Mission Impossible movies, he was very much more of a character actor. And whilst he's made plenty of good movies post this release, he has never been better than what he has been within this film. Now, we also have to give a special mention for John Williams' magnificent musical score, which brings so much of the emotion and gravitas, very much carrying the movie at times in certain scenes. Another reminder of how good of a movie composer he was outside of the big franchises such as Star Wars, Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park. So if I had to give an overall score for Born on the 4th of July, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. And when we go on to the movie's overall release, it was a big box office success, grossing over $162 million from a $17.8 million budget. It was also another major success for Oliver Stone, coming off both Platoon in 1986 and Wall Street in 1987, and really cemented his status as one of the industry's top directors. And he confirmed this by winning a second Oscar for Best Director for the movie, which itself also gained another Oscar for Best Editing. The movie also won 4 Golden Globe Awards, including one for Best Actor for Tom Cruise, and really he was only denied by an incredible performance from Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot for the Best Actor Oscar. And many years after its release, Born on the 4th of July still remains one of the most powerful and evocative war movies ever. Many have cited it as the second of Oliver Stone's trilogy of Vietnam War movies, the first being of course Platoon in 1986, and later on we had Heaven and Earth in 1993. And it's these type of great movies that really leave a great impact and impression with you long after watching them, and this is why for me, alongside it being Tom Cruise's best ever performance, Born on the 4th of July still remains a powerful and very important film with a compelling message that still bears residence in today's culture. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and look back on Born on the 4th of July. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where do you think it stands amongst the truly great war movies, both of yesteryear and today? Let me know in the comments, and if you have any other movies or television series or other issues that you'd like to see me cover within the industry, then also let me know in the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on those topics within the future. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon.